This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everyone. This is Patrick Gilchrist, the Warning Coordination Meteorologist of the National Weather Service in Glasgow, Montana, and this is your drought and climate outlook briefing for eastern Montana. Today is December 16th, 2021. So we have had a couple of winter storms over the last month that brought some significant snowfall to portions of the region, especially the foothills south of Billings down into the Beartooth Mountains. They've seen a couple of good precip events, one specifically on December 5th. And then most of eastern Montana again saw a good snow event here a couple of days ago. And you can see that we finally picked up some snow cover anywhere from a trace to 2 inches, fairly widespread east of the Continental Divide, although there are some areas with open ground. But the good news with this is not only is it much needed precipitation, but it also really helps to lower that fire danger as a whole. You know, we've had some significant late season fires that are, you know, not something we normally would think of when it comes to December weather, but this year they were very much present. So again, some good news with the snow cover really helps to mitigate that risk of fire and you know, really lower that overall fire danger. So some good news here recently. So how did we get here? I guess a quick look back on the January through November. This is a precipitation recap, and you can see no surprise here, considering the nature of these briefings and how prevalent the drought has been for the state of Montana. That, you know, most of the area, at least for January through November, is finishing much below average. Worth noting here that looks like Fergus County is looking at the record driest period for that area, but you can see a few counties, you know, still in that below average category, but you know, really east of the Continental Divide, really seeing that much below average, really dry conditions precip wise. Temperature wise, again, no surprise here, again, very much above average temperatures for the state of Montana. A couple of counties again finishing above average, but the story has really been warm and dry conditions over the last 11 months. We've been in the midst of a pretty major drought for eastern Montana and actually much of the western U.S. As well. So again, those warm and dry conditions really contributing to that. So a quick look at where we are so far for the month of December. Now, departures from normal, this is temperature wise, and you can see again, areas closer to the Canadian border, that High Line area, you know, really still finishing above normal temperatures, but you know, closer to normals, you know, in that 0 to maybe 4 degrees above normal. Now, areas further west and south in Montana, you can see really fairly warm. At southwest Montana, anywhere 12 to 16 degrees above normal. So again, a very warm start to the month of December. However, we did just get a pretty good Arctic push that's impacting eastern Montana, bringing some pretty cold temperatures as we speak. And looks like those cold temperatures are really going to hang around here, at least in the short term, and then maybe even the long term. So you could see that by the time this month is over, that we could end up seeing a little bit of a switch around with this. It'll be interesting to see during next month's briefing what we're looking at, how the month of December finished out. Precipitation wise, again, we did talk a little bit about those couple of decent little storm systems that came through, brought some much needed, again, snowfall through much of eastern Montana. You can see again a lot of areas seeing well above average precipitation. However, it is worth noting that some areas like southeast Montana and southwest Montana as well did finish below average on precipitation. So it wasn't a slam dunk widespread precip event, but there are a few areas that did get missed out on some of this snowfall and precipitation so far for the month. So a quick look at the snapshots for Glasgow and Billings proper, and you can see Glasgow finishing about 48% of normal, Billings 70% of normal on the precip wise. But again, you know, we've talked about this a lot, these flat lines here in the precipitation totals evident both in Glasgow and Billings, showing just how long we've had these prolonged, very dry periods. But it is worth noting, again, that when we get into December here, you know, at least in Glasgow and in Billings, you see these little jump ups, and hey, that means we are getting, albeit humble, but we are getting some precipitation here, and we're not just seeing those prolonged periods without any precipitation. And we have seen a little bit of precip here and there over the last month or so. So again, a little bit of good news there. So a quick look at eastern Montana, kind of some snapshots here. of where we're sitting precip wise. And you can see in northeast Montana, Culbertson still only about 50% of normal precipitation. Glasgow, as I said earlier, 48%. Brockway about 53%. Circle, which is fairly close, 61% of normal. Sydney, 58%. Glendive, 74%. So again, two areas that are fairly close together, but have some significant differences as far as precipitation totals go. But by and large, in that anywhere from 50 to 70% range is really where we're seeing most of these numbers falling, and that includes down into southeast Montana as well. When you look at Baker at 60%, they're kind of the lowest, with Ekalaka at 70%, it's just like Billings, 70%. We get into central Montana, again, very similar story. Havre and Lewistown, 63% of normal. Great Falls about 73%. So again, you can see that there's no areas in here that is really anywhere close to 100% or normal where we'd want to be precip-wise. It's just kind of different varying shades of 50 to 70% of normal precipitation. And if you're looking for additional precipitation events, information, feel free to check out this link here. It has a pretty good amount of information showing precipitation totals for the entire state of Montana. So look at our drought. You can see here again, drought impacting much of the western United States. One notable change here is that if you look at western Washington, seeing really not much in the way of drought right now, which is a bit surprising. But when you factor in the atmospheric river events bringing major precipitation events to the Cascade Mountains and out on the Olympic Peninsula as well, bringing some significant flooding as well, that really it's nice to see some improvement out there. And actually that improvement extends all the way down into northern California. You can see some areas there that are not quite as severe as what we have been seeing, but again, that's all due to the atmospheric river events. But it is also worth noting that in these exceptional times, exceptional drought areas, it's going to take quite a bit to turn the corner and show a lot of improvement. So again, it's nice to see some improvement taking place in the western U.S., but it's going to take a lot to get us back to normal. A quick look in on Montana, North Dakota specifically. It is worth noting too that we also have seen some improvement in northwest Montana. Some of those atmospheric river events, we have seen some improvement and some decent precipitation totals up in the northwest. However, areas east of the divide and down into southwest Montana continue to be, very, very dry. Still looking at D4, down from the southwest Montana, Beaver Egg County, all the way up along the Missouri to Fort Peck Lake, areas along the High Line as well in that D4 exceptional drought category. That of course is bordered with D3 extreme drought, and we do continue to see some D2 severe drought in the southeast corner as well. But really Montana's continuing to feel the effects of that major drought. If we hop next door to North Dakota, it is interesting to see we have seen some improvement there as well. Southeast North Dakota, not even seeing some drought conditions there, right along the South Dakota border, but up into the Red River Valley, looking at abnormally dry conditions. And then, of course, further west you go, and north and west especially, you start to see deteriorating drought conditions across the state of North Dakota, and eventually to that D3 extreme drought, which butts up against Montana's D3 extreme drought as well. Of course, you hear me say this every month, but if you have any impacts, any information, especially concrete, solid numbers type information, please pass that on. You can just Google Drought Impact Reporter, Montana Drought Impact Reporter, and pass that information along to those decision makers to make sure that what the drought monitor has accurately represents what you're seeing on the ground there. Keep that information flowing. It's definitely appreciated. So we hop into the short-term forecast. This is really taking us right up to that Christmas holiday through December 23rd. And the story is really going to be, at least in the immediate short term, is cold temperatures. We're very much on the cold side, and with this Arctic air mass firmly in place across eastern Montana. We're going to see a little bit of potential for light snow tonight into tomorrow. Could pick up some, a few places could pick up some accumulations of maybe an inch or two, but largely it's going to be light accumulations of snow. But we also have some wind chill concerns as well that are going to couple along with that for the tonight period, and I would expect some advisories to be going out shortly. We'll see a brief warm up on Sunday. Might get up closer to the upper 20s, maybe low 30s in some areas, but again, it's short-lived. another frontal system comes in, another Arctic push, and temperatures are going to fall off, and it looks like the cold is here to stay, at least for the foreseeable future. It looks like we could see some periods of light snow as well throughout all this. And of course, with that leading up to the Christmas travel season, I would certainly recommend everybody keep a close eye on the forecast, keep a close eye on road conditions, and make sure that your travel plans are appropriate given the weather and the road conditions that are out there. And of course, as always, provide extra time if needed to get to your destination, and don't be rushed. But you know, certainly this is going to be of impact as we get into our holiday travel season. So the 8 to 14 day outlook, this is looking past Christmas time all the way towards the end of the month of December, and you can see there's a really strong signal here for below normal temperatures. Now that looks like that cold is definitely going to be here to stay and is going to be of impact. So be prepared for some cold, frigid temperatures as we see that Arctic air streaming in from the north. But you can see that that dark blue indicates a high likelihood of below normal temperatures. So it looks like that Arctic air is going to be here and going to be of impact. So be planning for cold temps. And of the precipitation side, again, maybe some good news here as far as our drought concerns go, but to see a big bullseye for better chances for above normal precip across the Great Basin, but that also extends up into Montana, even into western North Dakota there. But again, chances favoring wetter conditions or above normal precipitation during that end of December timeframe for that 8 to 14 day outlook. So again, feeling pretty good about that forecast. Our drought seasonal, our U.S. seasonal drought outlook, this is the 3-month outlook, and it is worth noting that since the last time we talked about this, that they have pushed this area here where it says drought remains but improves further east into eastern Montana. And again, that's a good trend for us. Makes us feel a little bit more optimistic about maybe getting some much needed precipitation, or at least not continuing to be so darn dry. However, when you get down into southeast Montana, it looks like that drought is just going to persist here, at least at this point. But again, some favorable changes overall in this outlook, but we're still, we don't have any magic cures, at least as far as the drought goes as we go forward. So again, cautious optimism, I think, is the best way to look at it. So look at month of January. You can see temperature outlook, no real strong signals there as far as the temperature goes. So you might count on more normal temperatures, which again for January is going to be some of our coldest temperatures. But again, feeling a little more optimistic, seeing this big area of above normal precipitation favored, covering almost the entire state of Montana. So again, some good news in the outlooks for the month of January. 3-month outlook, January, February, and March all coupled together, again favoring better chances for above normal precipitation for most of the state of Montana, except for maybe more normal chances in the southeast and right along the North Dakota border. But again, favoring below normal temperatures. That's you know, pretty strong signal, a pretty classic La Nina type of event, but it's encompassing much of the Pacific Northwest and the state of Montana. Looks to be a little bit cooler for that January, February, and March. Now we turn the corner into April, May, and June, our spring outlook. You can see that we don't have a strong signal one way or another on the precip or temperature outlooks. Looking for more equal chances. So kind of, you know, for planning purposes, maybe more normal type temperatures and precipitation. But again, considering the fact that April, May, and June are our wet months, normal precipitation would be very appreciated during that time frame. We'd be plumb happy with getting our normals. Again, just you know, we're feeling optimistic about these outlooks because at least they're not showing, you know, or not favoring dry conditions for us, at least at this point. So a quick discussion about the La Nina. Like I said, our wintertime pattern is very much favored for a La Nina type pattern, favoring cooler temperatures and maybe better chances for precipitation. And you can see a 95% of chance of that. I'm continuing here looking at the forecast going forward. Looks like that's going to continue through the winter months. However, we get towards the spring, the better chances, 60% chance, are favoring a return to more neutral type conditions, which again lines up well with our equal chances for precip and temperatures for our spring months. So very consistent there, but looks like we are in a La Nina, continue to see that La Nina advisory, but we will be going towards more neutral conditions as we get towards the spring months. So that concludes our monthly briefing. From all of us at the National Weather Service in Glasgow and Billings, I would love to wish you a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself at this email address here, patrick.gilchrist@noaa.gov, or Sean Palmquist, meteorologist down in the Billings office, can help you out as well. And we will talk to you next year. Thank you.